Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Sir Cypher here with Let's Play World in Conflict Soviet Assault. There's going to be a lot of cutscenes after this, so I thought I'd introduce myself now. So I look forward to rejoining you after about 10 minutes of Cold War drama.
To no one's surprise, following their earlier intransigence, NATO diplomats yesterday walked out of the Malta Peace Conference. Clearly, peace is not on their agenda. Only threats and deception and endless profits for the capitalist war machine. But our brave comrades in the armed forces will not be intimidated. They stand vigilant along the German border, their resolve unquenchable, ready to deliver...
It was inevitable. Our massive preparations had gone on far too long for us to simply stand down. We were like a coiled spring, ready to throw ourselves into the fray. All we waited for was one word: attack. Spirits were high, and the men joked about how we would crush the enemy with one fell stroke. But some didn't laugh. They had been to Afghanistan. They knew war.
Mind the road, comrade. Volodya.
Who's he?
Don't you know? That's Colonel Orlovsky. He's a legend.
Ah, Comrade Major Lebedev. It's been a while.
It has indeed, Comrade Orlovsky.
I was just wondering who they'd send to babysit me.
Your command is the key to this whole grand endeavor, comrade. How could they send anyone but me?
Your sense of self-importance hasn't lessened, I see.
But I am very important, am I not? Or at least my dear old father-in-law is.
It's good to see you, old friend.
So, how are we doing?
Everything is in place. I can't say I'm very happy about all this.
The Politburo knows what is right. Ours is but to obey.
So they have decided. Get me Lieutenant Romanov on the horn. I want him to make a final survey of the forward defenses.
Понятно, товарищ полковник. Get Lieutenant Romanov on the horn. Now.
When?
Soon.
Lieutenant Romanov, your Alpha squad is to make a forward recon of... Wait, stand by for the Colonel.
Lieutenant, my call sign is Sokol 1. There will be no more reconnaissance. You are to execute Plan Odessa. The air defenses must be destroyed before the main assault begins. Your objective is to destroy 2 anti-air emplacements. Weapons are free, and we are now at war. Good luck, Lieutenant. Sokol 1, out.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so here we are in the first mission of World in Conflict Soviet Assault. Soviet Assault is the expansion pack of World in Conflict, and it adds new missions from the Soviet perspective that are sort of mixed in with the regular game. So you alternate between the Soviet and the Western NATO perspective. Now this is sort of a Cold War going hot simulator, similar to War Game.
The first AA emplacement is located to the east. Move swiftly.
But it is a lot older.
Enemy scout helicopter spotted.
So we have to destroy these missile launchers. If you've played War Game Red Dragon and anything about Cold War, you know these look like Hawk missiles, which are the American long-range missiles for AAA. Now, this mission is not very long, so I'll just comment a little bit. I'm going to be staying silent during all the cutscenes because this game's real draw, the gameplay's fun, but its real draw is the story. It has a surprisingly good story for, you know, being just a kind of generic Cold War RTS. It has very interesting characters, especially on the American side, who I'm sure we'll all come to love once we get there. And I am playing this on very hard. Now, I haven't actually played this in 10 years, so I'm assuming I can beat this on very hard. Oopsies. But if I can't, then, you know, I'll just lower the difficulty for a mission.
Explosives in place, ready to exfiltrate.
Sokol 1 here. Exfiltration coordinates have been sent. Move there now and avoid detection. The explosive will be detonated when the attack is launched. Get out of the area as quickly as you can.
Okay, so we've disabled the air defenses, and now we're gonna move out here. Or at least we've placed explosives on the air defenses.
Mission accomplished.
So we're currently, in case you didn't realize, we're in the middle of Berlin. This is the Cold War. Berlin is separated into a Allied quarter and a Soviet quarter.
Welcome back, Grisha. Oh, how was recruit training?
Boring.
Ha, but necessary, Comrade Sergeant. Those recruits will soon be needed. Товарищи! It's good to see you all here today. And it will be even better to see you soon breaking through that wall! Then we'll teach those NATO dogs how to fight! They thought they could bully us into submission! They thought we'd give way and fall! But today, we'll show them that the Red Army bows to no one! Today, we'll show them the might of the Soviet Union! Get your vehicles! We go to war!
Romanov, the explosives will detonate in 3, 2, 1, mark. Sokol 1 to all battle group elements. Today we liberate West Berlin from the American oppressor. Only minutes remain until we rain fire on the enemy. Lieutenant Romanov, I want you to initiate the artillery barrage. The wall itself will be destroyed by pre-placed explosives.
Okay, so we're gonna start the Cold War here. Call in an artillery barrage. Now, World in Conflict doesn't have bases. It doesn't really have resources. Basically how it works is you have a set number of points that you can call in that number of units. Like this.
We have 3 main objectives. Destroying the U.S. 6th Armored Battalion, securing the Moltke Bridge over the Spree, and clearing the 17th June Street for use by Army Command.
I should shut up when Orlovsky and his beautiful mustache are talking.
Lieutenant Romanov, advance with your tank platoon to phase line Volga. Destroy all enemies you encounter.
Okay, so we have our tank platoon here.
We must secure the 17th June Street. That's the main avenue by noon. Army Command is planning a parade along the avenue in celebration of the victory they expect us to win for them.
So we have our tanks here.
Begin, Romanov.
It's an RTS. You have units, they gain experience. And instead of resources like from killing instead of resources to build units, there's sort of an alternate reinforcement system, which we'll get to once we can actually build units. And instead, when you sort of accomplish goals, you get tactical points, which give you the ability to call in off-map support. So we're going to call in an artillery barrage here. As you can see, that's going to start blowing up. There's also other types of aid you can get as well. We just can't get any right now. You'll also notice that each vehicle or each unit in this game has a offensive ability and a defensive ability. So our T-80s here, they have smoke screen for their defensive ability, and they have heat rounds for their offensive ability. Now, while the units are different, right? These are M1 Abrams, these are T-80s. As far as I know, and there might be some small difference that I'm just not aware of.
Malashenko to Sokol 1. Resistance is heavier than expected. Прием.
Understood, Malashenko. You will get assistance.
Basically, the units are the same for each side. So, like, these are heavy USSR tanks. There's heavy American tanks. But even though they're different models of tank, they have the same abilities and essentially the same stats. So it's basically like a matched system. So we're going to move up here with our little T-80s. Now that the artillery barrage is done, you can see poor Berlin burning in the background here.
Romanov, we must secure that road junction. You will attack the enemy in the flank while Malashenko pushes forward.
Okay, so we'll look over here and help with this.
We have to move quickly, Lieutenant. Get your units in position.
Don't forget to call in fire support when needed.
Alright, so we'll just kill all these infantry. Now another mechanic of this game is entrenching or emplacing, which is basically when you capture some strategic points and you sit on them, they'll get fortified, and like little defensive turrets and stuff will pop up automatically. So we're gonna go do that now. So if we put 2 tanks over here and 2 tanks over here, we'll start getting our little fortifications. Yeah, okay. We get it.
Finally, now we must set up defenses before they counterattack.
Now, tank facing does matter in terms of armor and stuff, so you always want to face towards the enemy. Now, I did say that we're moving into the Allied quarter of Berlin, but if anyone doesn't know, during the Cold War, Berlin was essentially in Soviet territory. But even though the city was in Soviet territory, it was split up, and there was different quarters. And oh, Dnieper.
Dnieper, come in, Dnieper. Short. We have to secure Moltke Bridge or the entire flank will fall. Romanov, I'm sending you to reinforce Section B and capture that bridge. You will need anti-aircraft support to handle those helicopters. Call for reinforcements on the support channel.
So this is how you build units. You basically select the units you want, and then you pick a drop zone, and the units come down. And the sort of gimmick, I guess, of this game is you can't get more of this resource. The only way you can get more is if your units are destroyed. So you essentially always have the same amount of units. Yeah. So, you know, if you destroy enemy units, it just means they can call them back down. So you might ask, like, well, how do you win? Well, oopsies, I didn't click the deploy button. The answer is you push forward while you're destroying their units, and from destroying their units, you get points to call in like tactical aid and artillery, which makes it easier to destroy their new units, and you can kind of get a snowball that way. But there's usually hope for them to recover, right? Because they can always call in reinforcements. And there's also no economy or macro game. So our little Strelas here. Our tracked Strelas. Our heavy AA. So we took out these helicopters. Yeah. So we have light attack helicopters look like Super Cobras, and then the heavy attack helicopters are Apaches. Oh no. But anyway, yeah, so there was an international kind of side of Berlin and the Soviet side, and technically, like, the French had their part, the British had their part, but my understanding is basically all of the Soviet aligned factions were kind of open, and you could travel between them all, and all of the international ones were open, and you could travel between them. So there's really kind of just the main divide between Soviet and Western. And I guess NATO, NATO. But I'm sure some people watching this probably lived through some of that, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
The entire flank was about to fall. Now, push through and secure that bridge.
So we just gotta go in here, blow up all these helicopters. Take out this APC with some heat rounds. Oh, what's that? I guess I'm supposed to drop some artillery on that.
We have the bridge. Now hold in place and get some sandbag positions up.
So as you can see, we're
counterattack at any minute.
having our troops here, and it's going to build little reinforcements. Now, I don't know how accurate is this, the chances of the USSR actually trying to, invade Western Europe and attack NATO instead of going quietly into the night. But I do know for most of the Cold War, Western forces basically thought there was zero chance of stopping the Red Army from rolling across Western Europe if they wanted to, and that the only way to stop them would be to use atomic weapons.
The Moltke Bridge is now under our control, and the northern flank has been secured. We owe much to Lieutenant Romanov.
Now that did change, I think later on in like the later 70s and 80s, because you know, you had increased defense spending and the economies of the Western nations got better.
They are forming the battle line now. Take up your position and prepare to advance.
Okay, so now we protected the bridge. They said we can replenish our losses, but we don't really have any thing to replenish. I guess we'll get another heavy tank.
Toward the main avenue and link up with Captain Malashenko. The Americans are preparing a counterattack. Section A, advance. Section B, advance. Make this a day to be remembered, comrades. Sokolov out.
So we'll guard that.
Friendly helicopters are moving in to assist you. All thank our frontal aviation comrades.
Sokol 1, Malashenko на связи. We're under attack by NATO helicopters and need immediate anti-air support.
Romanov, you have the necessary equipment. Aid Captain Malashenko if you can.
So we'll help over here with these helicopters. We've got our heavy AA here to take these guys out. Thankfully, the AI is helping us out with some little repair trucks to help our AA because it's damaged. Where's our heavy tank core? Now the heat rounds on the heavy tank are best against lighter things like APCs. So, but you know, you can really use them against anything. You don't have to like use them against only APCs.
The advance is going well. Now I want you to link up with Captain Malashenko. You two will form the breaker upon which the Americans will hurl themselves and be destroyed.
Okay, so we gotta move up here to this road. Keep on just calling in more heavy artillery barrages.
We are moving to the forward position now. I see American tanks approaching.
Good. They are about to launch their counterattack.
Okay. Why does this tank really not want to participate in the group? Alright, so we'll just roll through here. Hit these guys with heat rounds. Maybe help these guys here. And form a little barricade. We'll get our heavy AA up here in case they bring helicopters.
All units are in place and the Americans are approaching. Sections A and B are to continue to close the gap, while Lieutenant Romanov and Captain Malashenko hold the middle.
I was hoping something would actually be here shooting, because I could see AA in the distance, but it's just trees.
Coming to you 95, but until they arrive, you must use all available support to hold off the American attack. The first enemy echelon is here. Romanov, call in artillery and airstrikes on them.
We will establish the avenue we call in fire support indiscriminately.
I am concerned with winning this battle, Captain, not with preserving a parade ground for Army Command. Proceed with the mission. Understood.
So at this point, we just have to call in as many barrages as we want. You basically have unlimited resources, so just kind of go for it.
Count on you to deal with them, Lieutenant.
Говорит Malashenko, this is a glorious day for the motherland and for socialism. Soon, West Berlin will be liberated.
So I don't know how realistic this is, like this swarm of allied armor, of NATO armor. I shouldn't call them allies because you know they're not. They're NATO. Because the Berlin brigades, my understanding, which were what the NATO kind of forces in West Berlin were called, had no. There was no expectation that they could actually stop the Red Army. They were more just there because so there'd be a large enough force so that the only way the Red Army could seize West Berlin would be by declaring war. Because as you saw recently in places like the Crimea, if a place does not have strong defenses in this modern day, you can kind of just waltz in and take it. And if no one's going to fight you for it and you don't have to fight anybody, like, you know, most people aren't going to start a war after the fact.
I say again, hold in place. Do not move into the target area.
So we're just sitting here. So yeah, I think the Berlin brigades would probably be just trying to figure out how to retreat some manner of assets at this point. I don't think they would be suicide attacking down a road with no air support.
Strike successful. Return to base. Berkut out.
We crushed them.
Sukhoi 1 to all battle group elements. The Americans have been destroyed and the avenue is secure. I am immensely proud of you all, but I ask that you honor our comrades who perished here today. Without their sacrifice, this victory could not have been accomplished. Sukhoi 1, out.
So, it has begun.
It has indeed. I wonder how it'll end.
Best soon. Today was an easy victory. Who knows about tomorrow? Here's my nephew Kolya. He really distinguished himself today.
Товарищ полковник, Captain Milashenko reporting.
At ease, comrade. This is Major Lebedev.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, comrade. This was a crushing victory you helped win for us today.
One of many to come. Soon all of Europe will see the glory of socialism. Will you be accompanying my uncle?
We have that honor. But you should return to your unit, Nikolai. Tell the men that I am proud of them.
I will, uncle. We'll do whatever it takes to ensure victory for our great cause. Comrade Major.
He takes after his mother.
A few more like him, and this war will be over in a week.
I hope you are right, Valery Fedorovich. I really do.
All right, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mission 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on next time to Mission 2, where we'll meet everybody's favorite U.S. Army captain and suffer alongside him. Anyway, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.